Hey Graham, how you going, bud?
Good, mate, yourself?
Yeah, good. Hey, so for the people at home, what we're going to just start doing is things that we've identified as being issues for people, whether it be, it's probably less to do with issues with the trailer and more about issues that people are getting used to being able to do in their management of the trailers.
Yep.
So people's capability to use the trailers. We thought we'd do a series of videos.
Yep.
And discussion points so that we can start to give people some insight in terms of, you know, things that they may not know already.
Yeah.
Or some depth to what they know a little bit about.
Yeah.
So that they can work out what they're going to do.
Yep, that's very cool.
So today, I think what we're doing today is we're going to have a bit of a chat about the management of batteries.
Yep.
And some of the do's and don'ts in terms of the use of them, the storage of them.
Yep.
And if you have problems and they go flat, what we can do to
get you going again.
Get us going again. So they're the sorts of things we're going to talk about today.
Yep.
You happy with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, one of the first things, let's talk about this storage mode.
Okay.
Now, we're primarily talking about Red Arc, the Manager 30s and the Red Visions. Can you give us a quick insight in terms of what storage mode
actually
has been
means
designed to do?
Yep, okay. So pretty much when your storage mode is kicked off, it's designed to shut down your system so that the system basically is in sleep mode and it's not drawing anything on the actual batteries themselves. The biggest problem that we have is people put them into storage mode thinking that they can put it in there and drive away and not worry about their batteries.
Yep.
We come into that grid, especially with the lithium. The lithium will actually go into automatic shutdown for them.
Yep.
Which anything under about 11 volts, it literally shuts down. So if you have no other power coming in, your batteries are probably going into that in about 14 days' time.
Okay, so let me recap that a little bit. So storage mode has been designed into the system by Red Arc.
Yep.
So that if, for example, a customer's not going to use their trailer for a couple of weeks,
yep,
to make sure that they're managing the batteries well and not allowing the trailer to run their batteries flat.
Completely, yep.
If they put it in storage mode, then it'll actually shut everything down and a trickle will come out of the batteries, which is what actually storage mode uses.
Correct.
So you've got this trickle of charge coming out, which will last up to about 14 days.
Yeah, well, it's not actually a charge per se. It's basically the management system reads the batteries each day, gets what it needs to sort of like to work out where it needs to be at, and then it'll just monitor that over a period of time.
Yeah.
If you've got nothing coming in and something coming out, there's going to get to a point where your battery, it's going to run down, and it's about 14 days time.
Right.
You have no battery power left, and then it just literally goes into shutdown. Okay. They all have BMSs in there, batteries have BMSs in it, so it stops there to that, it will protect the battery from going any further. So.
All right, so what you're suggesting there though, I think what you're suggesting is that if people are going to store their vans for longer than 14 days,
yep,
then they after about up to about 14 days, they need to really plug it into 240.
Correct.
And get it beef up again.
If you're not got a 240 and you can't get to a 240, there is the option of a solar on the solar side. Yeah. So if it's outside, you're getting solar, you're going to be maintaining it as well. Right. If you're inside got it into a shed or something like that, it really needs something coming into it to be able to get to charge.
Okay. So just a quick naive question from me.
Yep.
Can you have it in storage mode but still have charge from solar coming into
Absolutely.
the batteries? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so that works. So if you're storing it outside,
yep,
you can put it in the storage mode to look after your batteries and be confident that the
solar's going to be put. It's going to keep it trickling. Yeah. So it only draws about a couple of amps like each day to monitor the system. So that's enough for it to be putting it back into the system. The solar was good. Yeah, it will cope with it. No problems at all.
Much more than 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, exactly right.
So you would get enough out of the solar at that point in time.
So it'll actually maintain it with solar being outside. But if you're inside or stored away somewhere that can't physically get any solar, then that's when the 240 has to come into play.
So just to summarise, and some of the critical points I'm getting out of what you're saying is that the storage mode is, we would encourage people, if they're not going to use their trailers, to put it into storage mode at the point in time. Obviously you need to have things like your fridge empty and
Correct.
Those sorts of things, because it's going to close the fridge down.
Absolutely.
At that
Pretty
quick.
However,
if you put it into storage mode, you really need to keep some sort of charge going back in after about 14
days. Yeah.
If you've got solar on the roof and you're storing it outside, it's probably going to be enough.
Yep.
But if you don't have solar, at some point around the 14-day mark, you need to plug some 240 in and give it a boost up again.
Correct.
And once the batteries are charging in, you can take the 240 out.
Exactly right. And go through your 14-day process. Yeah. So.
Okay, great. So that's really what Storage Mate's been
correct. Designed for.
To be able to do for the trailer. Okay, very good. The next point on this. So the next thing I think worth talking about. Let's say somebody unfortunately for some reason, whether that's a lack of sun, car not hooked up, no 240 option available, they've forgotten to go back and check their trailer in storage mode after about
2 weeks.
days.
We have flat batteries.
Flat.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's talk about lithium first.
Okay.
So we get quite a number of calls about.
We do, yes.
About batteries going flat.
Yep.
People panicking that the
battery's gone flat. Yep.
All that sort of stuff. If a lithium battery runs down, does that automatically think it's no good anymore?
No. So with an AGM, yes, totally different story. But with the lithium's got the.
AGMs in a second.
Yep.
Let's go through the lithium now.
So with the lithium, it has a BMS inside it, so battery management system all by itself inside it. They are designed to shut down 11. It gives you a bit of a warning, 11.5.
11 volts?
Yeah, 11 volts.
Yep.
It gives you a warning about 11.5 volts. Now, when it gets to 11 volts, it literally shuts down, so there's no more current comes out of that battery. So the first thing you do is when you open up your door, all of a sudden my batteries are dead.
Yep.
Okay. So these things need to register about 12 volts to kick back in, so you can actually jump start them.
Okay, so let me go through what you've just talked about there. So a person runs their battery down, gets to about 11.4 volts.
Yep.
It'll give you a warning.
Yep.
To say that your batteries are starting
Go for flat.
low.
Yep.
If it gets to 11, it shuts down, but it doesn't mean your batteries are no good.
No.
It just means the battery's management system has
shut the batteries
down
down
to protect themselves.
Correct.
Is that right?
That's 100% right.
Okay. So the battery's now flat. I've forgotten.
Yep.
Which me being me, I probably do.
Yep.
The batteries are now gone flat. What do we?
Okay, so there's a couple of different options you can. You really need to get a 12 volt source back into the battery to be able to read above 12 volts for that battery to click back in. Whether it be jumping it off your car, whether it be having another battery, even those little battery packs that you buy to do the jump start on your car, well, it's enough.
Yeah.
Just to basically click them back in. Once they've clicked back in, then you get your 240, you plug it back in, you recharge it back up again.
Okay, so the message out of that is that just thinking your battery's going to charge up is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, no.
You have to have some sort of intervention.
Yep.
That's going to get the batteries going.
Charging back up again.
A bit like a car when a car battery goes flat.
Yep.
You need to jump start the battery.
Yep.
To get it going.
And drive for 5 kilometres to get them working. Yep.
Okay. So what you're saying is you can jump start the battery a number of different ways.
Yep.
One is you can go and buy another battery pack and give
Jump it. Yep.
Give it a jump.
Yep.
What about the car?
Yeah, well, you can hook up your car basically like a car. Jumper leads through the roof, or through the window, onto your batteries, and they will come alive again.
Right.
As soon as they register anything over 12 volts, they are then available to take voltage.
Okay.
That's how the management system actually functions. It's got to read voltage to be able to perform its job as well.
Okay.
All right. So once it's reads voltage, then it can start charging. So as soon as you start hook it up to the car, obviously drive down the road, you've got solar coming in, you've got your car charger charging in, but it's still not going to be enough. You really need to plug into 240, give it overnight, and then she should be good to go. So.
Okay, excellent. So the two things out of today have been Storage Mate isn't a lifelong protection, right?
Yep,
so you've got
100%.
about 14 days.
Yep.
And if you're outside and it's you've got solar, then it's fine. If you're not outside, you really need to find a 240 option
So you can plug in.
to plug it in. That's the first thing.
Yep.
And the second thing is if unfortunately you do run your batteries flat, you don't need to panic because your lithiums aren't no good.
No good, that's correct.
They've just protected themselves by shutting down at a certain point of time, which is 11 volts.
Correct.
But to get them started, you need to jump start them either with an external
source. Yep.
To be able to jump start them. Plugging the 240 in, is that enough to jump start?
Okay, so with the later models from about 21 onwards, Red Arcs are we've got this issue with them. We need to just put that into it. So from about 21 onwards, with our vans, the Red Arc system, as soon as you plug it into 240, it will automatically kick it off.
It's got an intervention with
it has
the
got
Red Arc that will
correct.
start the
Yep.
battery.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Okay, but prior to 21,
Prior to 21,
you have to
no.
have some sort of external.
It's got to be an external source from somewhere. Yep.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And what do they ring you if they, or send you a ticket if they aren't sure whether it's a pre or post 21?
Yeah, look, you can do it, but the first thing is like plug it in, mate, and you'll soon see what happens. You can always jump start it. As soon as you jump start it, doesn't matter whether it be 20, 21, whatever. It'll still jump start.
They can't damage anything?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Unless you put the battery terminals on backwards, but yeah. No, it'll be okay.
Again, you're talking about my car.
Yeah, I know, mate. Like, I'm a bit scared, but anyway, it should be good. Red to red, black to black. It's all good. So.
All right, mate.
Yep.
So, Graham, AGM batteries now. So
Yep.
we've already talked about the lithium.
Lithium,
The fact
yep.
that the lithiums will
Come back.
it'll come back. What about AGMs?
Unfortunately, AGMs don't like to come back. Once they sort of get to a point where they're flat, every time you halve the life of the battery, you halve the length of the time. So a lot of the problems is if you do get to that point, sometimes they can come back, but most times they don't. And it's basically need to be replaced, the batteries.
So in what you're saying there, though, Graham, it could come back, but it won't be as good as what it
Absolutely
was
not.
going
No, absolutely not. So it's like a water container. The easiest way to explain it is water container. Every time you take something out, you need to top it back up. You get to a point where the water runs out of the container, there's nothing left in there, so it physically can't build back up again.
And it might build up some calcification.
It will definitely calcify up the side. Yep.
The water tank
Well,
is big.
that's exactly right. It's only this big rather than being that big. So yeah, and unfortunately the AGMs, they're not like the lithiums, so they just don't like that happening to them, which is really important. Why we need to sort of like educate the people into getting it right, because the AGMs are very susceptible to bad voltage. So
That's fantastic.
Okay.
So this is the very first time we've done this.
Yep,
So
it is.
That's really good information for customers. It gives them some insight in terms of some problems.
how everything
they might
functions,
have,
yeah.
and how to intervene
Yep.
and fix it up.
Yep.
So, Mark, thanks for your time.
Right, no problems at all.
And I look forward to the next one.
All right, too easy.
Well
Thanks,
done.
mate. Catch ya.
Thank you.